everybody. So today's video is going to be finally my postpartum journey, my body transformation, but it's going to be a lot about emotions as well. It's not just going to be about the physical. I'm basically back to my pre-pregnancy size. I'm feeling really good about my body right now, which is amazing because if you followed me for as long as I've been around, you'll know that I've struggled with body image like most of my life. And I'm doing much better, and my body is finally back to pre-pregnancy. And it was a much bigger struggle than I thought it was going to be this time in terms of getting back down to that pre-pregnancy size. But nonetheless, 1 year, 2 months, here we are. And I'm here to tell you, if you're like me and you just tend to, if you're more kind of curvy and just you tend to hold on to more body fat, you may be experiencing something similar, and there's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody gets back down to pre-pregnancy size under 6 months postpartum. I know that it seems like, especially when you follow a lot of people on social media, that that's what happens. But actually, I'd say probably the vast majority of people I know, that's not the case. I also kind of feel like what set me up for the disappointment and frustration was that I tried something so incredibly different this time around compared to my first two postpartum journeys. So if you don't know, I'm a plant-based vegan now, and I have been now for 4 years. Can you guys believe it's been that long? That's crazy to me. It feels like I've only been vegan for like a couple of years. That's how easy it is, guys. Time just goes. So I just thought, especially since the pregnancy, I put on the least amount of weight. I thought that there wouldn't be much to lose. But lo and behold, in the pregnancies, I'd say in most of my pregnancies, I actually didn't gain a lot of weight. In Olivia's pregnancy, I gained 35 pounds, which is, considering I started off overweight, it was probably a little too much, but it wasn't anything crazy. And I was carrying so much water with her. And then with Leia, I was more overweight at the start of that pregnancy, and I gained, I believe it was 30 pounds, so a little bit less. And then with Darian, I started off my smallest, and I gained only about 25 pounds, which is like normal. So I was like feeling great. I was like, yeah, this plant-based thing is working for me, which I still do think it does work for me. But I just thought like it was just gonna fall off like that. Like I felt like I was gonna have this whole other postpartum journey, but as it turns out, that was not what I had in store for me. So basically, I didn't gain much weight in the pregnancy, but that first month postpartum, I put on quite a bit of weight. And I'm not sure why. I have a hypothesis that my body stores fat to actually be able to breastfeed. I know that they say that you lose weight when you breastfeed, but there are actually more studies being done because there are women complaining of struggling with losing weight during breastfeeding and even gaining weight during, especially those first few months of breastfeeding, that more people are starting to do studies if it's possible for some women to gain fat stores in order to breastfeed. So if that's a thing, I definitely think that I would probably fall under that category because I do not gain a lot of weight in pregnancy, but in every single one of my journeys, I gained weight in the first couple months. And I mean, not just a little bit of weight, but between 10 and 15 pounds of extra weight. And part of it is probably the milk, but part of it wasn't. So it's something that I've kind of had to come to terms with because, you know, breastfeeding is such hard work and it's so worth it for the baby. But I was really hoping that I would get the added benefit of losing weight like so many other women that I read about in magazines and all of these things that I've seen some women on social media experience. I was hoping to experience it too, but I just had to chalk it up and be like, that's just not how my body rolls. And I do think another contributing factor to that is I am an anxiety sufferer, and I do think my anxiety gets a little worse in the postpartum time. Nothing too crazy, but I definitely feel like my cortisol levels go up, which when your cortisol levels are higher, you are more likely to gain weight for sure because your body's kind of in fight or flight. So that's pretty much what it came down to, because I realized that the pregnancy was just so polar opposites from my other ones, and it was so much more positive in terms of how I was feeling and my health and how much weight I had, or how little weight I had put on. And I just felt like I was getting a bit gypped in the postpartum time, and it didn't make any sense as to how well the pregnancy went. So basically how it went was, you know, every month I would just kind of be like, okay, well, I still can't fit into any of my clothes. That sucks. And then I would just kind of wait. And I was just really patient about it. Like I did exercise at around 2 months postpartum, like really light, and like walks and not any jogs, but just sort of, you know, keeping active, because that's a really important part of my lifestyle, and I really like to be healthy, and it's good to get outside and get fresh air and etc. But I just decided to just chalk it up and be like, well, that's just how my body is going to be. I don't need to be focusing on that because I've got this little human that I need to focus on, and that's all that really matters. You know, my body created this amazing human. It went through a heck of a lot, and now I just need to kind of let it be. So that was basically my mentality all up until 6 months postpartum. I started getting a little bit antsier around the 6 months postpartum mark, when still nothing was happening, and I started upping my game in terms of exercise. Still nothing, but I was still breastfeeding around the clock and basically not getting any sleep. Darian was pretty difficult baby. He breastfed probably the most, like around the clock as well, out of all my kids. So I was very sleep deprived. I had to, you know, say, oh, I'm really sleep deprived as well. I have no family support, so I still wasn't being too hard on myself. But at the same time, I was starting to get pretty bummed out, because I was starting to feel like I was losing myself, not just because of the way I look, but when you can't fit into any of your clothes and you just feel you're not getting any sleep and you're just so tired and there's a baby at your boob all the time, you start to feel pretty down, and things just get worse in terms of how you feel about yourself. The more time goes on, and the less you feel like yourself, if that makes any sense. I feel like I'm babbling. I'm trying to make the most sense out of how I was feeling, because now, like in retrospect, I feel like I handled it well, but at the same time I feel like I could have handled it better, because it was basically everything that I thought. I knew that there was just going to come a point where when he was breastfeeding less, I would just start losing the weight. I just knew that's how it was going to be. And I trusted my body. I didn't want to change anything about my diet. I felt like I didn't want to cut anything. I didn't want to do any weird timing of when I eat. I had come so far in terms of my relationship with food, and I just felt like I had such a good, healthy relationship with my food that I didn't want to change anything. So I just kept keeping the faith and keeping the exercise going. And I just said, it's probably just gonna come off when it's meant to. Like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I know I'm not doing anything wrong. What I'm trying to come across at here is, just because you're not losing the weight does not mean that you're not trying. It doesn't mean that you're not healthy. It doesn't mean that you're not doing everything right or you're doing everything wrong. Just maybe the way it is. You know what I mean? So I just kept keeping the faith. And I was starting to get a little bit more down towards 9 months postpartum, but I started seeing a slight decrease, and I started fitting into my clothes teeny bit better. And that's when the stress levels dropped, and I was like, yes, I knew this was going to happen. I knew at one point when I start breastfeeding less that something was just gonna click, and sure enough, that's just basically how it went. Now, I did change my fitness routine in the past couple months, but I don't know how much that had to do with the actual postpartum weight loss, because a lot of it just happened with like my typical cardio. Now I'm actually a little bit under my pre-pregnancy size, and I think that has a lot to do with my new exercise routine. If you want to hear about that, I am lifting more weights, I am getting leaner, getting more muscle mass, and I really feel pretty damn good about myself right now in terms of my fitness routine and how far I have come. But overall, with the postpartum weight loss, the key to success for me was just patience. I don't want to come on here and tell you like it's because I did XYZ. I just knew that I had a healthy pregnancy, I had a healthy baby, I had a healthy body. I kept the faith, as hard as it was sometimes, and there were tears, and there was drama. Some days with me and my husband, he would hear a lot about it. I'd be like, why can't I just be like these women who lose weight like so fast? But that's just not how it rolls, and it was well worth the wait. If you are in a current situation, just know that it takes time and your body will get back in its own time. I mean, if you're in a situation where you're not very active, or you know you could be eating better, then try changing those things. But know that if you are living healthy and you are intentionally trying to be healthy, that your body's just going to do what it has to do. You know, having a baby's pretty hardcore. And to be expected to just get back into shape, get back into those runs and those walks and all that stuff like a day or two after you give birth. Nobody should feel like they have to prioritize their body over their baby or over their psychological well-being. So that's all I have to say about this postpartum journey. It's just been patience. I will show you guys the belly shot, and it's a little different now than after I had Leia. I don't have as much abs. Darian definitely kind of ripped some tissues, it seems, but I'm okay with it. It's all just a representation of how freaking badass my body is. And I will go ahead and show you guys the belly shot, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be talking about my new fitness because I'm enjoying it so very much in maybe next Tuesday's video, if you guys would like. We'll keep those the topic days. So yeah, let's do the belly shot. All right guys, let's do the postpartum belly shot. So today, I don't know if you can see, but I'm actually wearing shorts. Kind of warm for July-ish. It's been really cold here actually lately. So here it is. Yeah, it's not too bad. That's what it looks like. It's a little different than after I had Leia. It's a little bit more like firm, especially up here. Like he really got me at the top of the belly. He was my highest pump. But you know, it's pretty cool. The postpartum mommy pudge is really cuddly and squishy, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Please don't be so hard on yourselves. What we go through is so incredibly intense, and you're all amazing, and your journey is going to transform and unfold as it is healthiest and safest for your body to do. Just trust it. So I will see you guys soon. Bye.